Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon. My name is Eric Sorensen. I was born and raised in Rockford, Illinois, and attended Northern Illinois University, where I studied communications and meteorology. I served my communities as a meteorologist from 1999 to 2021. My job was to help my community by sharing the best information about upcoming severe weather and our changing climate. When people have access to accurate weather forecasts and climate data, we know that they make good decisions about their personal safety and about their own future. So I want to extend a special welcome to my fellow meteorologist on the panel, Dr. Drogemeyer, for being here. And I do want to very quickly thank my colleagues in Oklahoma for safely keeping people ahead of the storms in the past 24 to 36 hours. They saved lives, and that's the power of meteorology. I'm thrilled to join not only this committee, but become the first meteorologist in Congress in nearly half a century. Today, I would like to focus on the structure of the U.S. approach to science and technology, how our approach really differs from that of other countries, including China, and how we can use these differences to our advantage. So I'll start with our meteorologist, esteemed, Dr. Drogemeyer. Research institutions at our nation's universities, like in my district, Monmouth College and Augustana College, provide critical S&T research, much does OU. This type of research is often built upon the private industry developing these new advanced technologies and investments. The private industries building on the advanced technology often develop in geographical proximity to the university that develop the basic technology. This relationship benefits the community and the economy around the university. So my question, how do we ensure that private companies that utilize the free-form nature of S&T, R&D, locate around the producing university, thus giving back to the community that produced the technology?
Well, thank you so much for your good question and for your kind remarks there. We do a lot of this at OU. In fact, we have companies locating on our campus, and how do you incentivize them to stay there? And a lot of times they'll develop. I started a private company and it got purchased, but it's still in Norman. I think the key thing is to make sure you lower the barrier to entry to interact with the university in terms of if they're on the campus, you provide space for them at rates that do not undercut what they could get in the community, but in fact are commensurate. But the value of being there is perhaps sort of co-marketing, of being able to go to seminars, getting access to students, having students work in your company, and so on. As you're developing the technology, the university kind of becomes your R&D arm. So if you're a small business, you don't have an R&D component of your company, well, hey, the university could do that. And it doesn't necessarily require you to have a funded research relationship with the university. It might be that you're serving on a graduate students committee and you deconflict yourself, you don't have a conflict of interest, but you're providing a private sector perspective on the work that they're doing. And you might involve them doing an internship in your company for maybe not a lot of money, but all of a sudden then you're able to hire them because you've vetted them. You know exactly their capabilities, you've developed their capabilities, and all of a sudden they're your employee. And so you've not made a huge investment in them, you've reaped the benefits of being at the university. That's, I think, the power of the local economic development. I think the key thing is to have the university not see itself in competition with the local economic development authorities. You want to have a partnership to where you say the university plays an important role, the Chamber of Commerce plays an important role. A lot of times there's economic development organizations that play a role. We at Oklahoma, in Norman, we have a triumvirate of those things, and they all work together. If somebody comes to the campus, great. If they don't come to the campus, great. If they're in Norman or they're nearby, we call that a win. So it's about, I think, being a good partner in this and not wanting to have everything for yourself, but growing with the community in mind, as you say.
My district consists of rural parts of Western Illinois, smaller suburban areas. We know that smaller universities tend to attract much less funding. We have to make sure that more funding gets to smaller schools. What policies can Congress install to ensure that a diverse set of universities get their funding, their piece of that funding pie? I'll give this to anyone.
I'll just tell you one thing that NSF is doing. It's got a new program called Granted. It stands for, if I get this right, Growing Research Access for Nationally Transformative Equity and Diversity. And the idea basically is to say that small universities, small colleges, they have the capability to compete in terms of their personnel, but they don't have the administrative structures to manage grants, to do proposal submissions, to meet all the compliance rules and regulations. So the idea is that if we as a federal government could invest in that capability through helping build partnerships with other institutions, then we empower them to unleash the capabilities of their faculty without putting them in jeopardy of getting an audit report on a grant that they somehow mismanaged without any ill intent, but they simply didn't have the people who knew what they were doing, and they weren't used to doing it. They didn't have a history. So that kind of program, which is not super expensive, it's leveraging the existing capabilities at R1 and R2 schools to build an ecosystem of partnerships of administering grant proposals and grant awards once they're funded. That will really empower a lot of institutions.
Thank you. I'm out of time. I yield back.